Today on the Bass Channel, we're checking out the two-stroke boost EQ from Orange. What is going on, everybody? It's Chris from the Bass Channel, and we are back with another pedal demo. I know it's been a while, and you guys have been asking for it, so here it is. We're here to hang out and talk about the Orange two-stroke. The tone that you heard at the top was Nicki Tedesco playing her original song, Sick as Freak. Now, of course, the bass in that recording was fed through the two-stroke with the settings that you saw at the top. Before we get rolling, let's cover the typical YouTube stuff. Hit the notification bell, like the video, dislike the video, doesn't matter to me. Either way, just interact with it, leave a comment below, or participate in the chat if you are here live on Saturday morning. We've got t-shirts and other merch down below, so check that out if you feel so inclined, and I do believe that covers the housekeeping section, so let's get right into the two-stroke. The two-stroke is a clean boost with a two-band, I don't know if it's parametric or semi-parametric. Basically, it's two bands, and each band you can choose the frequency between a set value of frequencies. Whether that's parametric or semi, I don't know, but either way, that's what it does. Now, all the tones that you'll hear in this video are running through the TerraBass 500 that you see behind me. The reason for this is it is the only amp I own that has tubes in the preamp or the front end, and typically when you're playing with a boost, it's just better to have tubes. The way they interact just works a lot better and it makes a lot more sense. All right, so let's jump right in. I've got the website up for some technical specs. The two-strokes oil knob controls the level of clean boost by 12 decibels, plenty to saturate your amp's front end. What's more, the pedal's internal charge pump means gain is genuinely clean. On many other pedals of this type, unity gain is normally found between 9 and 12 o'clock on the output level control, meaning much of the travel of the pod is actually wasted. So unity gain on the two-stroke, which, by the way, the white knob is your boost or your volume or your level, whereas the black knobs are your EQ. So we're going to start with just the clean. We're not going to touch the EQ at first. So basically, unity gain is minimum on the white or the oil control. So with all of the other knobs set at noon and this all the way at minimum, there should be virtually no detectable difference between on and off. So let's start by hearing just a couple tones with just the boost, clean boost, no EQ, none of that. We're going to start by hearing Will playing a Spectre Legend for neck through. You're going to hear the first tone off, and then it's going to kick on again, completely uncolored, no EQ, just boost. So as As you can hear, not a lot of tone coloration going on there. Basically just giving the bass extra volume to hit the tubes a little bit harder, let it jump out of the mix a little more, and just give it more of an overall saturated type of tone. Which leads me to maybe a question some of you may or may not be having. If you're new to Boost, unfamiliar with Boost, or never used a Boost, why would you want one over an overdrive? Well, if you like your bass tone and you like your amp tone, but you need just a little bit more saturation, it's kind of a buzzword, but it really kind of is the best word for it. If you just want to hit the tubes harder, get them to break up a little more, a Boost is a good option. Where this would differ from an overdrive is this has no distortion in the pedal itself. All it's doing is giving your instrument a clean level boost to hit the amp harder. So any distortion that you might hear is coming from the amp itself, not the pedal. So it's a much more natural kind of way to get some overdrive, where, you know, again, like an overdrive pedal might have some coloration. It has its own gain structure, its own distortion sound, the way it breaks up internally. Now, you can use an overdrive to kind of achieve the same results. However, depending on which one you use, it may or may not be truly clean. And again, with the EQ on this pedal set straight up, noon, flat, neutral, it is a clean, tonally pure way to break up your amp and get it to kind of pop out of the mix. So let's jump into another tone. This time we have Will again, now playing a Warwick bass. EQ again is set neutral, set flat, set to 12 o'clock, and the oil control or the level control is set to maximum. So let's hear how this breaks up the tube front end. Again, still quite subtle as far as the distortion or the overdrive goes, but you are just taking that sound and just making it louder, hitting the tubes harder, giving you more of what already sounds good. So now we're going to keep the settings on the pedal the same. Again, EQ is neutral, the boost or the level or the oil knob is completely maxed out, and we're going to move over to our Norwegian friend and patron, Peter Schellhase. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it doesn't matter because he's a great player with a good feel and a killer tone. So let's listen to Kai with the pedal again set neutral, playing his Fender Jazz Bass. And now we have Nick playing a PRS Kestrel, which again is another kind of dual single coil jazz bass type of tone. So let's hear that sound with the exact same settings on the pedal. So now let's hear a couple sound samples from our good friend Josh Dubois. I have Josh playing a couple different basses here. Both of these tones, again, the EQ is set neutral and the boost is set to maximum, just so you can hear how it responds with a different playing style and a couple different basses. right, so let's do some EQ tweaks. We're going to go back to Kai from Norway playing another jazz bass. Again, the level knob is set to maximum, and we've done some subtle tweaks on the high and low knobs. You're first going to hear the pedal off, and then I'm going to kick it on halfway through so you can really hear the difference between the on and off settings. And now here we have a more subtle amount of boost with a slightly more drastic EQ. Again, we go back to Kai playing his Spectre bass. You're going to start by hearing the pedal off and then on again so you can really hear the difference in the tonal shaping. All right, now we're going to move to another one of our patrons, this time from New Zealand. We have Chris Chilton playing his jazz bass. The setting on the pedal is more of an emphasis on the upper mid-range, moderate amount of boost, and nothing really happened in the low end. So let's hear how this sounds. Let's move over to our friend Johnnyboy, Johnny Flores, playing his Stingray bass with a slap riff. Again, pedal settings are a little bit more on the upper mid-range emphasis to really let some of those notes saturate the tubes and get just a little bit more crunch going on so it really jumps out at you. So I've mentioned a couple times so far that having some more saturation in your tone can really help you jump out and cut through a mix. So let's hear that in action. We have Jayme Lewis playing a drop A metal riff on a Warwick. You're going to hear first the pedal off, and then it's going to kick on halfway through. Again, we have a moderate amount of boost. I've accentuated the upper and lower mids, and again, having those frequencies hit the tubes a little harder than the rest of the signal helps give those frequencies more saturation, which is going to help them jump out and cut through the mix. So let's hear it again, first off and then on. right, let's move over to a different tone. This time the pedal is set a little bit more subtly, with more emphasis on the low end to give it some more body. But again, there is a subtle amount of volume boost to really give it some more saturation to help it cut through. I'm using the same buzzwords over and over again, and I apologize, but that's kind of what's going on here. So let's hear this in the mix and just kind of hear how it jumps out. Okay, this next one is really fun. It's more of a thrashy tune, but there's a part where Jayme plays this run in there where the guitars are not really doing much. And you'll hear that with the pedal disengaged, it's there, but with the pedal engaged, it really kind of pushes out, and it makes itself more obvious, more known, more present. So again, yeah, let's hear it first off, and then we'll kick it on, and we'll hear the difference. Okay, and finally, this last riff is taken from one of Josh's live shows maybe a year or two ago, him playing the Warwick Corvette Babinga, playing, I believe, an Audio Slave song, and we're going to do what I like to call real-time control. So as the song plays through, I'm just going to tweak the controls in real time so you can hear the sweep of each knob, how they interact together, and all that sort of thing. So let's check it out. And that just about wraps it up on the Orange 2-stroke. Now, before we go, I gotta say, Orange sent me a handful of products a couple months back, Terror Base being one of them, Fur Coat, and this 2-stroke. And at the time that they sent it, the 2-stroke was the one that I was the least excited about, because my thought was, it's just a boost, how special can it be? But after playing with it and really kind of getting a sense of, you know, what it does and how it sounds and how it interacts with your existing gear, I gotta say, like, far and above, it's my favorite product that they sent in that shipment. So whether or not it's good for you and your needs, I guess it would depend on what your existing setup is. But to put it quickly, if you're just looking for a nice crunchy overdrive sound and maybe you have a solid state amp, I'd say skip it. But if you do have a tube amp, whether it be the Orange or the Ampeg, or I'm blanking on any other brands right now, but if your amp has at least a tube preamp or front end, I'd say definitely go for it if you want that authentic, natural tube breakup, because again, it's just going to hit the tubes harder with more saturation, allowing them to produce the overdrive rather than the pedal or the circuit inside the pedal. So if that's something you're after, I'd say go for it. I think the value is there. I think it sounds really good. I mean, to be fair, I don't have a tremendous amount of experience with boosts. The boost pedal that I had before this was the TC Electronic Spark, which again, when we did the video for that 3 or so years ago, I thought that sounded fantastic. If I put it up against the 2-stroke today, I'd pick the 2-stroke. So again, it's always best to be able to experiment for your style, your gear, the sound that you want to achieve, but I definitely think it's worth checking out, whether it be just this video, or if you have an opportunity to play one yourself, definitely plug into one. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, just like I was. And also, we're giving it away, so if you want a chance to win it, follow the link in the description and you will be entered to win the Orange 2-stroke sometime soon. So thank you very much for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate all of your interactions. So until next time, I'm Chris from the Bass Channel, and thanks for watching.